Good morning, Barry. Thank you for coming. Please tell yourself to Bracket Anonymously sponsored. Today is Pesach Sheni. Everybody's welcome to eat Shmur Matzah. And Pesach Sheni embodies a second chance. Jews who didn't get to do the Korban Pesach the first time around get to do it again. So I want to welcome back Yecheskel Brucker for giving us a second chance. Pesach Sheni. This is a renewal, so welcome back. But there is a thread between a thought that I had in this week's Parsha and Pesach Sheni. Pesach, why is Pesach Sheni where people are given another chance? Because Pesach establishes God as the rule of everything, personal destiny. It's such an important concept that we have to reinforce that for those that didn't get to experience it on the first Pesach. In this week's Parsha, there's a very strange story of a blasphemer. And here's what the Torah says: "Vayidaber Moshe b'nei Yisrael." Moshe speaks to the b'nei Yisrael. Vayotzius makalo mechutz lamachle. They took the blasphemer outside the camp. Vayigmo so oven. They stoned him. U'b'nei Yisrael asu kasher tziva Hashem as Moshe. The Jews did like Hashem commanded as Moshe. So the Torah and the Rabbi asked a wonderful question: why does it have to end kasher tziva Hashem as Moshe? Hashem commanded Moshe. We know, of course, 9 Pesukim earlier, they told us that God says that this person has to be put to death. Why does it say, again, why does it use this redundancy that Bnei Yisrael did what Moshe did? So the Torah Rabbi says something very, very interesting and a very profound way of looking at this blasphemer. What was his problem, according to the Torah Rabbi? What was his problem? And this is Chazal side by Rashi, that he cursed Hashem for a very strange reason. What was the strange reason? He felt that that there was the showbread, the lechem apanim was put on the table, and every week, it was replaced a week later. And what happened was the Kohanim came in. The 2 sets of Kohanim came. One came in to bring in the showbread, the fresh one. The other one took their one out. He said to himself, "How could a king eat stale bread that's 9 days old? There's something wrong here." And we know that according to Chazal, the Torah Rabbi says that bread doesn't just represent bread; it means parnasa. So basically, what we know is that this metaphor of the bread also means that Hashem is involved in our parnasa. So he couldn't understand that this whole symbolism of stale bread, he figured this is something which God means he's involved in parnasa. He couldn't understand that God's involved in parnasa. The fact that they used stale bread, that the Kohen were eating that, just blew his mind for some strange reason. Even though he didn't realize that the bread never grew stale, but that was the miracle of lechem banim. But basically, he was challenging the fact that God
never tasted it.
He never tasted it. But he was challenging the fact that God's involved. Yes, he didn't challenge God. Everybody knew God exists. We said God's not involved in our parnasa. God's up there, and we do our own thing. And that's the danger that the Torah Rabbi says that God wanted to make an extreme example in this particular case. It was even worse than just saying that God doesn't exist. He's basically saying that God's not involved in a daily life with parnasa. So therefore, the point was, but they were afraid that this poison would permeate the Jewish people. They say, "Oh, God's not involved in our lives. He's not involved." Therefore, the Torah specifically says that Bnei Yisrael did Hashem Moshe to bring home the point that Bnei Yisrael understood the message of what the blasphemer was trying to do. It was the wrong message. They understood that God's involved in daily life. That's what Pesach Sheni is all about. But God's involved in our daily lives in every single aspect. And that's the reason why the blasphemer was put to death. And Bnei Yisrael did not learn from his experience and from his thoughts. Have a wonderful day. Torah never grows stale. Have a wonderful day.